Are you Christian, sir?
The sword and the shield, it must be balanced.
The sword and the shield must be balanced. What do you mean by that?
Justice
Yep.
and peace. You have to be perfectly capable of distributing both in equal proportions.
All right. So what about you? When you meet God, are you going to have peace with God?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And why is that?
Because I have no enemies.
You have an enemy of God if you've sinned. Have you sinned?
I have sinned.
Okay. So how are you going to be at peace with God if you bring sin into his presence one day when you die?
I'll ask for forgiveness.
You should ask for forgiveness today then, not when you die. Once you die, it's too late. Are you a Christian?
I am not a Christian.
Okay. Do you know what God did for guilty sinners so that you can have peace with God?
He sent his son.
All right. It sounds like you may have been raised in Christianity.
I study all religions.
Okay. So if you've studied Christianity, why aren't you a Christian?
Because I have an appreciation for all religions. I didn't want to tie myself to just one.
So Jesus said himself, he said, I am the only way for you to have peace with God. He said, I am the way and the truth and the life, and that no one comes to the Father but by me. Jesus says, I am exclusively and only your only hope for salvation. So that would mean that any other religion would be wrong, right? Unless all religions are saying like, no. Look to Jesus Christ. He will save you, but you can't save yourself. The Bible says that all of our good deeds are like filthy rags. So anytime you try to earn favor with God, anytime you try to do good deeds to try to like cover up the scales or balance the scales, the Bible says that all you're doing is trying to bribe the God of the universe so that you can get into heaven to be like, oh, well, I'm a good person. And God's going to point to his son and he's going to say, I sent Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago. He lived a sinless life. You've lied or stolen or whatever sin that you've done. So you're not good and you're not righteous. My son is righteous. He offered you peace. But he also calls for you to like exclusively worship him and him alone. So you have to reject idols, reject other religions because there's objective truth. What do you think about that?
I think that any God that asks you to close your mind and your heart to the possibility of learning from other religions and other gods is not the God that I want to follow. Would you agree that truth can come from anybody's mouth, whether they are like a Christian or a Muslim or a Mormon?
Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely.
So truth in of itself is not what I'm saying, that Jesus says you have to like reject everything that comes out of the mouth of every other religion, because in the same way, a counterfeit $100 bill looks very close to a real $100 bill, but that doesn't mean that the $100 bill counterfeit doesn't have like truth on it. It's just not the real thing. Right. So other religions can steal from the Christian worldview. They can steal from the realities of truth and love in this world, right? Most religions, I think you would agree, say like the golden rule, right? What's the golden rule?
The golden rule: love thy neighbor, love thyself.
Love your neighbor as yourself, right? Okay, so you see that in other religions. So the only problem is, like, it's how you are justified for when you're unloving. And so what you need to look at when you're examining these other religions is, what do they say about how somebody is made right with God? And Christianity, like, says that us in of ourselves are evil because we've sinned against God. We've been unloving by lying, right? So lying is evil, not because it's just an arbitrary law that God has given us, but because his very nature is truth. And so we're made in God's image, so we should reflect back to God in reality, like us as image bearers of God. So we should not lie, right? We should always tell the truth.
I love that.
And, when you love your neighbor, you tell them the truth. If you got a girlfriend, if she ever says, hey, does this dress make me look fat? Like, you want to be very careful to answer that question because that's like a tricky one.
Yeah.
But you've got to tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
If you love your neighbor, you're not going to steal from them. If you love your neighbor, you're not going to murder them, right? All of these things are from the character of God himself. And so Christianity says that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, stepped down off of the throne 2,000 years ago, and he was perfectly loving to God and to his neighbor. and that he voluntarily, even the greatest act of love of all, an innocent man laid down his life for guilty sinners, his enemies. And he died there on a cross, took the wrath of God for people just like you and I. And he was buried in a tomb. But the great news is that he did not stay in the grave, but he came back from the dead. And it's written down in history. Like, there are all kinds of resources that you can look to that give you confidence that Jesus Christ is who he says he is, and that you should worship him and him alone. So I would just encourage you, like, what's your name?
My name is Cole Scott Smith.
My name is Jay. Do you have a Bible?
I don't.
Would you like one? They're free.
I'll take one.
Yeah, there's either of those.
Anyone?
Yeah, either one are good. Like, here, take this. This is my contact info. Like, I'm on social, Tally Preacher. If you ever need anything or ask any questions or need help, like, sifting through, like, what is reality, like, versus not, like, according to the Christian worldview.
You'll help me understand this?
100%. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
All right.
This is huge.
Cool, man. God bless you, man. Thanks for stopping. You too.